Brockton, Massachusetts was a bustling, vibrant town. It was a wonderful main street. It was always tough, but it was a great, great New England town. And something happened with the infusion of drugs, and the shoe factories moved out of town, and the tanneries moved out of town, and the knitting mills closed down. They moved offshore. Factories became vacant. A sort of darkness came over the town, and everybody could feel it. The main street closed. The shops were closing, boarded up. People became depressed. A friend of mine, her name was Kathy Repsius, worked in the gas station down the road from the gas station from where I worked. And she was murdered and stabbed 18 times in broad daylight. It took 24 years before the killer came to justice, was brought to justice. I was working at an all-night gas station on the corner of Belmont and Torrey Street in Brockton. I had the 11 o'clock till 7 in the morning shift. And there was a period of time between 3 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning, not day, not night. Everything became very, very quiet. We had been robbed many, many times. The gas station was directly across from the Brockton Fairgrounds. During the summertime, the freaks from the Brockton Fair, they were called freaks then. William Dirks, the man with 3 eyes and 2 noses, would sometimes visit the gas station. About 3 o'clock in the morning, I was sitting at the desk. The gas station had a very large glass window. There was a desk in the gas station, a cigarette machine, a bubbler, which we call out east a drinking fountain. And that's it. About 3 o'clock in the morning, a car comes rumbling up and stops right in front of the gas station, blocking my view from the gas pumps. And I knew right away that this was trouble. The door opened to the car. There appeared to be 5 or 6 guys inside. A man walks around the car and walks into the gas station, and he's wearing a black raincoat. His hair is sort of pasted down in a mousy fashion. He looks bad, very bad. I knew that this was going to be a robbery. And then I became aware of a shotgun underneath his coat. He stood there in a position of legs apart, said nothing, just stared at me, and I stared at him, and he stared at me, and a calmness came over me, as if I had a protection, not the least bit nervous. And I looked at him and I said, "Charlie Brown." And he looked at me with a great deal of suspicion, and he said, "How did you know my name?" And I said, "Well, about 3 years ago, I was in a pub, bar room, at 11 o'clock in the morning in South Boston. And I was in there drinking, and I saw you walk in that bar room, and I saw you go up to each person in that bar, and you asked them to buy you a drink, and nobody would. And you worked your way all the way to the end of the bar, and you got to me, and I bought you a drink. And then you sat down and you drank your beer and you told me this story. You had just gotten out of Walpole State Prison. You had been sent to Walpole because you found your wife in bed with another guy, and you grabbed a fork and then you pounded the bar. You stabbed him once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and then somebody grabbed you. The next thing you knew, you were in jail. You also told me that when you were in prison, some guy tried to rape you, and you stabbed him. And that's why I remember who you are. And he looked at me, and he looked at me, and he just said the word, cool. Turned around, got into his car, and they took off. Well, I sat there at the desk and I just said, well, there was an angel in that room. There was an angel in that room. Guardian angels were with me, but guardian angels were also with Charlie Brown. And I like to think that the strong angels were with Charlie Brown because they prevented him that night from going through with something that he intended to do. I was safe, but he was the one in danger. I worked the rest of my shift, and I remember when my, at that point in time, girlfriend, Alice, picked me up. I told her the story, and we just sat in the car and we were quiet, and we knew that that was one close call that I would never, ever forget. He told me that his name was Charlie Brown. And I said something to the effect of, oh, like Charlie Brown? And he said, Charlie Brown. Like the guy in Peanuts? He said, Charlie Brown is my name. I don't believe he had ever read Peanuts. But he was named Charlie Brown.